question is, how you running?
Todd Lamansky is our Ante Up ambassador for LA, and he's joining me here on the How You Running segment. So we'll start with how you running.
Well, Joe, I got to be honest, I haven't played any poker since the last time we talked. However, I am going to the opening day of the Mar Racetrack in San Diego on Friday. Today we're recording on Wednesday, but when the show drops on Friday, I will be watching the horses. So I will let you know how I'm running the next time we talk.
All right, you be sure and let me know. So I wanted to have you on because you've got a couple of things that are going on there coming up. So I know it's pretty bang bang. Like we said, you're going to be off and enjoying the races. But when you get back, you've got a pretty big job ahead of you. So tell me a little bit about what's coming up.
Yeah, I guess you could say I'm also running good because I'm going back to work for the first time in a few months. And that's the Legends of Poker. It starts again today, if you're listening to the show when it drops. We're again recording on Wednesday, but Friday the 21st is the first day of the tournament. I will be at the racetrack, but I will start again on Sunday when I get back. But we're kicking it off with a $50K guaranteed mega stack for $250, and then there'll also be a survivor that day at 4 p.m. also $250. And then this, I think, is pretty cool. It's actually my idea, humble brag. But on Friday and Saturday at 7:30, we're doing mega satellites 1 in 8, not a 1 in 10, but 1 in 8. And not just one seat, you'll actually win 2 $560 seats. So 1 in 8 players for this $170 mega satellite is going to win 2 $560 seats for any event and during the Legends of Poker, including the first $500K guarantee, which will start on Sunday the 25th.
Wow.
The other thing I think is kind of cool is on Saturday at 5 p.m. we're running a Win the Button tournament. So if anybody's never played a Win the Button tournament, it's a lot of fun. You win the pot, you win the button.
That is cool. I've never played one, but I have watched a couple of them, and I think it adds kind of another element. Adds that one more element where you're trying to not only win the pot, but you want that button on the next hand. So I think it's cool.
Definitely drives the action. And then also think about this: is usually you don't want the aggressive player on your left, right? Because they're going to be 3-betting you and they're going to have position on you all the time. But if you have the aggressive player on your right, you're going to be in the small blind a lot more often because the aggressive player is going to win the button. So you're going to actually have to fight back. But the flip side of that is then you're going to have position on them at least, for some of the hands too, But I don't know. I've always I've dealt a couple of these over the years, and it's just a really cool dynamic, I think, for a tournament, especially for like a Saturday night, like fun style tournament, not like super serious. And so I'm glad that we're finally running. Not one, but I was just looking at the schedule before we hopped on here, and we're actually running another one on Saturday the 19th at 5 p.m. as well. So we're going to have a couple different Win the Button tournaments. So if you never played one, I highly recommend it. They're a lot of fun, and only $250.
Yeah, and so we talked about this before. The craze has been these mystery bounties. Do you have one of those?
We do have a mystery bounty as well. It's going to be on. It's going to start on Monday, August 14th. There's going to be 2 flights at 11 and 4. Actually, 3 flights, 11, 4, and 2. And it's going to be quantum style. So the 11 and 4 o'clock flights are $560 entries. So if you win the satellite, you got a couple of bullets for that one. The 2 o'clock flight are $300. So we got 3 flights on Monday, 3 flights on Tuesday. Day 2 is going to be on Wednesday, the 16th at noon. There's a $150,000 guarantee, and the big bounty is going to be $25K.
Wow. So we've talked a little bit about these quantum style tournaments there, and I don't know if they're primarily a West Coast thing, but you don't see them too much over here on the East Coast. Tell everybody a little bit about how the quantum style tournaments work.
The reason you don't really see them anywhere else is because our tournament director is the one who created the format, and He actually owns the
There you go.
trademark and the patent on it. So if anybody runs a quantum style tournament, he actually does get like a commission on it. So we have had we've had some here where we did like the Southern California Poker Championship, I think is what it's called, several years back, and we had casino. I think we had the Commerce, and we had the Gardens, and we had the Bike. We had one or two casinos from San Diego, and everybody joined in on day 3. So it was like a big, huge tournament, and the winner also got like a Mercedes. So, but they mainly run at the Bike, but they do have some at Ocean's 11 sometimes, and also occasionally at other casinos. But yeah, they're mostly a bicycle tournament. They're kind of like our calling card, so to speak. But to answer your question, the idea is that there are multiple buy-in levels. So, for instance, our first quantum will start on Sunday, my first day back, and we have $300 flights and $560 flights, and that's for day 1. And then a certain percentage will advance to day 2. And in this particular tournament, it's going to be the smaller flight will start with $25K in chips, and 10% will advance to day 2. The 560 flight will start with $50K in chips, and 20% will advance to day 2. So you get twice as many chips, and twice as many people go forward on the higher buy-in. And then if you are somebody that doesn't play that low, or you just want to save time, you can buy directly into day 2 for $2,100, and you'll get 250 chips, which is the chip average if you do the math. 10% of a 25K starting stack, or 20% of a 5K starting stack, or a 50K starting stack, excuse me.
So you start with more chips and your blind levels are the same, right? So
the blind levels on day 2 actually roll back. So,
okay.
So day 1, they might finish at 8,000, 16,000, or 6,000, 12,000, whatever it is. And the day 2 starts at 2,000, 3,000, because the day 2 buy-in with the average stack is going to always have around 66 big blinds.
Gotcha.
So if you're buying in for 300 and you're paying, I don't know what the rate is off the top of my head, but you're probably paying like $15 or $20 to the staff, and like $35 or so to the house. You're basically getting a 3.5-day tournament for $60 rate, which is a really, really good value.
Yeah.
You pay a lot more than that to get a 3.5-day tournament at the World Series, and you're not going to get one for $300.
Oh, right. Well, that's super interesting. Like I said, you don't see those over here, and now it makes sense why. But yeah, I didn't mean to get you down a rabbit hole there, but that's just a really interesting tournament style to me.
I think there's a lot of advantages to buying into day 2, but not everybody is playing $2,000, $30,000 tournaments. Only the people that normally play those tournaments are going to be the ones buying into day 2.
Right.
Another interesting thing about the quantum and the day 2 buy-in is that you get paid out at the end of day 1 if you play day 1, but day 2 you're not in the money anymore. So on this one that is going to start this weekend, if you advance to day 2, you're going to get paid $500. Now, when day 2 starts, they're going to take all of the players that made it, to day 2, plus all of the day 2 buy-ins. Whatever that total number is, we're going to pay 1/3 of the field. So you're not in the money when day 2 starts, but we pay the top third of the day 2 field, which means, and this is another unique thing about the quantum, is if you buy into day 2, you actually start recouping your money at 1/3 of the field as opposed to 10% of the field or 12% of the field, which is what you usually do. Now, the catch is that you're not going to recover your entire buy-in, because the day 2 payouts are going to start at like $750, $800, but you're going to recoup some of it, which doesn't happen in any other tournament.
I was going to say,
you're going to recoup your whole day. Yeah, you're going to recoup your whole day 2 buy-in when you get to about 10 to 12% of the field. So in that regard, it's the same as a normal tournament if you buy into day two. But you just have the opportunity to recoup part of your buy-in along the way.
Right. It's almost like when you're playing a tournament and everybody pitches in a little bit to give the bubble some money. It's almost like that. You're not going to get all of your money back, but you're going to at least have some of it back, which in a tournament is huge.
Yeah. Or even a bounty tournament. If you get a bounty or two along the way, sometimes you've already, recouped part of your buy-in that way as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's.
So what other tournaments do they have that are of note?
Well, I should note that the winner of this 500K guarantee that starts on Sunday will also get a WPT championship seat.
Oh, wow.
Which does remind me, normally Legends of Poker is a WPT event. This is the first time in I don't know how many years, definitely since I've started working at the bike, and my first event at the bike was in 2015, that it's not a WPT event. And basically the reason is that the casino got new owners. The bicycle casino is now officially the Parkwest Bicycle Casino. So we've had new owners for, I think about the last year or so, year and a half. And they're basically just doing a lot of remodeling. And so they were doing remodeling. They weren't going to be able to get the benefit of all the added table games revenue by paying the WPT franchise fee or whatever you called it that you have to pay to host the WPT event. So no WPT because the casino didn't want to fork over the money this year because they're remodeling.
So
I suppose is understandable. The
plan is for it to be a WPT event again in the future, just not this year?
Yeah, basically. 100% is going to be the WPT Legends of Poker will be back next year. That's already been confirmed. It's just this summer was we normally have a summer series that got canceled because they were remodeling, and this is basically just the summer series moved over into August when Legends of Poker happens. With the exception of these day two buy-ins, all of our buy-ins for the tournaments are going to be in the $250 to $500 range, the vast majority of them. Not counting the day two buy-ins for
sure.
Quantums, but no 10K, no 5K, no 2,500 PLO, no no $2,200 horse, none of that stuff that we might usually have with the WPT, which is unfortunate because I always enjoy, working the WPTs and, you get the cameras and all the faces coming in, There's definitely people, there's a lot of poker pros live in Vegas that'll be at the Legends of Poker that are obviously not going to come this year because there's no big buy-ins. But,
right.
I mean, at the same time, if you're the average Ante-up nation player, then that's good news for you because these buy-ins are right smack in the middle of your wheelhouse.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I guess a double-edged sword. It's a good thing and a bad thing. But...
Yeah, I mean, such is life. I mean, everything. We can always find the silver lining to everything, and we could always find a reason to complain about something if we really
sure.
hard enough, right? So it is what it is. But the mini Mega Millions is back. The first Mega Millions was back during the World Series of Poker Circuit event in March, and now we're having the second installment of the mini Mega Millions. So that's another one of the marquee events here. So even though we've got low buy-ins, there is a chance to win big money. So the mini Mega Millions, again, has a $1 million guarantee. It's going to run from Tuesday, August 1st, and day two is going to be on Tuesday, August 8th. And actually, this is a first for us. There's going to be 2 different day twos on this one, and it just has to do with the space involved because of the remodeling. We're not at our full capacity of tables that we normally have.
Okay.
So on our day two, we usually have 45 tables in the event center, and day two we might end up having 50 some, and we have to start on the other side of the casino and break down into the event center. Well, they're remodeling, so we don't have that luxury this time. So we have to have 2 day twos instead.
Okay.
But for anybody that's going to buy into day two, that gives you 2 opportunities to buy into day two instead of just 1. And another little hint I would say, or hack, I don't know what you'd call it, a little tip of mine from having worked a lot of these. I would say probably the best value, in my opinion, for any of these quantums is to actually play the mega satellite that happens the day before day 2. So in this case, for the mini Mega Millions, the buy-in levels are 200 and 380. The mega satellite is 340. So you're cheaper than the bigger buy-in. But if you get the seat, and the top 20% get a seat on this one, and you're going to start with that chip average. So you're going to skip day 1, and you're going to start with the chip average versus going through day 1. The chip average is obviously the chip average, but we know that the chip average is usually figured out by a handful of monster stacks added to a whole lot of short stacks. Is typically, if you look at the comeback list for day 2, there's like a handful of monster stacks, and then there's a ton of people that have less than the chip average, which is why I think starting with the chip average is such a good value, such a good it's a good move, I guess, is what you say. So
yeah, absolutely.
And normally, in this case, for the mini Mega Millions, it's a little different. But a lot of times, the mega satellite one, the mega satellite is going to be about the same as the buy-in level as the lower buy-in. Usually is. So then you're getting in, and if you're somebody that values your time, I guess, then mega satellite's over in 5-6 hours versus day 1 flight is 8 or 9 hours usually at play. And like I said, you're guaranteed, if you make it through, you're guaranteed to have that average stack, and as opposed to like maybe you start day 2 with a short stack and just like a handful of big blinds.
Yeah, I actually love that. So I'll be interested to hear how that goes. So well, you'll have to jump back on here and let me know how these tournaments go.
Oh, there's just one more thing I want to say about that I should mention in all fairness when I'm talking about the satellites.
Yeah.
The advantage to playing the day 1s is so for the 500K that's starting on Sunday, you advance to day 2, you get $500. If you double bag, you're going to get $2,500 for that second bag. So you're going to get $500 that you would normally get, plus you're going to get $2,000. You basically get $2,000 for every bag that comes out of play. So that's another thing about the quantums, and that is actually the reason to play day 1 is to try to double or triple qualify and get that bonus. So in the mini Mega Millions, if you advance to day 2, you can get $350. If you double or triple bag, you're going to get $1,600 for each additional bag. And then for the Mega Millions 25, $1.5 million guarantee that's going to close out the series starting August 24th. You advance to day 2, you're going to get $600. If you qualify more than once, you're going to get $3,500.
Wow. So there's some definite.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
You can. There's a lot of different ways to skin a cat when it comes to a quantum. Just to wrap up that whole question that started off the conversation.
Yeah, there's a lot of equity in there though, so there's a lot of money to be made for sure. And I know you're on a tight crunch. So what else you got going on there?
Well, I guess I'll just give some shout outs since I guess the World Series is pretty much coming to a close at this point. But one of our regular players, Mike Eskandari, I mentioned this in the magazine, in my article for this month in the magazine. He'd placed 59th in the Super Seniors event. But since then, he final tabled the 5K No Limit Hold'em event number 94. So I wanted to give him a shout out.
Yeah, congratulations to him.
Chino Reams also from LA, and he had some good runs too, including a final table in the 10K Stud 8 Championship. Maria Ho had a couple deep runs, 17th in the No Limit 6 Max 3.
No, shout out to Maria too, because she did a great job commentating as well. She was on some of the live streams commentating and even the final table there. She did a great job.
Yeah, most definitely, I agree. And I gotta say, I'm a fan of Maria Ho, not only poker obviously, and like L.A., but she was famously on The Amazing Race, which is one of my favorite shows, one of my favorite game shows. Adam Swan, I put this in the magazine. It's in this month's issue of the magazine. He final tabled 2 freeze outs, a 1,500 and a 2,500 freeze out, event number 28, event 19. And then Daniel Elahi finished 10th in the 50K Poker Players Championship. So I wanted to give him a shout out too. These are like just some of our LA players.
Yeah.
That made like really deep runs in the World Series, and we just want to give them props.
I'm glad you did that because it's important that they get recognized as well. We tend to focus on that bracelet winner, and I think there needs to be some mention of those that go deep because it's not easy. These are big fields and against really tough competition. So great job to them.
Especially that 50K PPC is like, that's the real, like, that's the Chip Reese trophy. That's the one that Doyle said that's like, okay, the main events hold him. He's like, but whoever wins that 50K PPC is like, not only do you have to be proficient in lots of different variants of poker, but especially nowadays in the modern era, you are literally playing against the best players in the world.
Absolutely. And that's kind of, that event is kind of what sealed, I think, Brian Rast's Poker Hall of Fame nomination, or not nomination, but election. So
yeah, that's right. He made it. He made it in.
Yeah, and he's won that event 3 times. So well deserving.
So the only other thing is after Legends of Poker wraps, Legends of Poker is going to wrap on September 4th. A couple days prior to that, Commerce Hold'em series is going to start on September 1st and run through September 24th. So anybody in LA that's looking to play tournaments, you got a lot to choose from for the next 2 months.
Absolutely, yeah. And
actually 2 months plus.
Yeah. Yeah, and I want to get you back on, when we get kind of toward the end of the Legends, and then before the Commerce starts theirs, because I just want to talk about some of these and see how they ran, and we can talk a little bit about the Commerce series and what's going on there.
And for all the mixed game players, you and I especially, are the fans of the mixed games, we do got some heroes, or I actually hate that they call it heroes, the horse tournaments, even though they're played as heroes now, even though it's misspelled. That's one of my main gripes about it, is that HEROS is not even actually a word, whereas horse was. But,
right.
08, 08, stud 8, splits, we got a lot of mixed games to choose from in the Legends of Poker too. I didn't mean to overshadow those with all the talk about quantums and hold'em tournaments. So we got something for everybody.
Yeah, good deal. And like you said, those are the games that really, after you've kind of played hold'em for a long time, you really start to find your interest in these other kinds of games. So I'm glad that there's some of those as well.
It's always been my opinion that the mixed games are ultimately what's going to sustain poker in the long term, right?
Yeah.
Because at some point in time, you imagine the hold'em bubble might burst, and like most people that started playing poker, we started playing 5-card draw with pennies in our kitchen, So
exactly.
It's not just about hold'em; it's about the sustainability of the game in the long term.
Yeah, I think I cut my teeth on 7-card stud. So,
I love the draw games. Those are my favorites. So.
All right, Todd, I appreciate you joining me again this week, and we'll talk when we get toward the end of the series.
All right, always a pleasure, Joe. Talk to you soon.
All right.
And shout out to the Ante Up Nation.
Yes. Good luck at the races, by the way.
All right, yeah, that's I don't know if I mentioned, but this is my race day hat. That's why I put it on today. All right, have a good one, Joe.
All right.